Over 10 years ago, I would add a game to my library that would proceed to be all that I played for months. It was an early access title. It showed a lot of promise for how early it seemed to be. I remember just countless days of just farming up resources and literally just creating entire stockpiles of each individual resource for when the rest of my friends would get on and allow us to continue and expand off of there without having to do the grinding with all of us there. And though eventually the spark did fall out as the months rolled on and development continued, eventually it would reach a position where I was ready to take a step back from it, play other things, let it fall out of my mind until it released, so that way I could be a little more surprised by everything that came along with launch day. And lo and behold, eventually that day came, and it released, and it would be one of the most disappointing releases of my entire gaming career. According to Steam, although it is no longer available to purchase on Steam, Osiris New Dawn is developed by Phoenix Fire Entertainment and is an open-world survival craft with horror and survival elements. Its direct description reads, Osiris New Dawn is an unforgiving, near-future space survival game with a cinematic feel and elements of horror. Play as a mission specialist in single or multiplayer to build your planetary base, pilotable vehicles, and controllable drones as you explore a dangerous solar system far from Earth. As far as the game stands right now, the game stands to this day at a 50% review score out of 9,200 user reviews. So after being very, very upset with its release date, mind you, a release date that was not buggy or literally unplayable like some other games I could mention. And so pushed away from how obtuse they had made the early game and how I had felt like they had gutted what I found interesting about the game in lieu of making things overly complicated in the pursuit of realism, I uninstalled the game and I forgot about it. The few times over the years that I would pass by it in my library, I would be reminded of how much I had wanted the game to be better. The contrast of the memories I had of playing it in early access versus the horror of seeing it in its launch state always sat very poorly with me. So one night, very late at night, I was bored, unable to find a game that would hold my interest, scrolling up and down my library, just looking for an ounce of any motivation to try anything. And I stopped at Osiris again. And I wondered, what exactly made me so upset about the game? What was wrong with it? Why did I feel so betrayed by it? Was it simply just that I was so used to what the game was like before it released that I was just pushed away by the fact that it was different, regardless of maybe being a positive change overall? Curious, I installed it, and I decided I was going to beat it. I was going to play through the entire game and really try and figure out what was better and what was worse. That stat spread is weird. 18.75, 8.16.6, 26 and 4, or 10, 10, and 10. Well, if I recall from early on, science was really the skill that was hard to get XP for, so I guess I'll do the poster child. Normal or easy? Nice. Could have done some of that loading while the cutscene was going, maybe? It seems weird that the entire ship from top to bottom explodes also.
Your suit has been breached. Patch your suit immediately. Your health vitals are low. Bandage your wounds.
Nice. Really, guys? That's a good sign. Why is the vignette so strong? Fun and easy. Pod's oxygen stores. Scrap debris found. Dude. So do I just always have that? Awesome. Oh, that's why the vignette, because I couldn't breathe.
Extract plant material.
System computer, report on the New Dawn and crew.
The New Dawn suffered a reactor overload during interstellar braking, causing the catastrophic system breach. No living crew members detected.
Why is there such an
Shelters
echo
can
on
be
her
built for
voice
protection
if it's
from
in my
dust
suit?
storms.
I'm just gonna slip this in here. I found out that the second hand is actually caused by field of view. I guess it lines up perfectly on the default field of view, but gets increasingly displaced the further away your FOV is from that default. The default FOV is 60. I play at 90, so this will be a permanent blight upon this playthrough. So it's not even... I don't have two hands here. You can see there's a hand model for, holding the thing. So it's not as if, I don't have feet either. So it's not as if, what I mean is, it's not like I'm seeing this model, the 3D model. Because I would see my feet, right? Oh, that's not fiber. Also not fiber. Why do I need a scrap blade? I have a regular blade.
Construct a workbench for tool creation and repair. You can also dismantle items into smaller components. Alien life form remnants detected. Collect samples. Your workbench can recycle creature parts into hide for crafting leather.
Why the fuck would my life pod survival knife be worse than a rock?
A furnace can be used to create metal objects. Oxygen is a natural byproduct.
I was just going to use a subtitle to poke a joke at this, but actually, this is one of the dumbest things ever, actually. The only thing oxygen is a byproduct in is photosynthesis. Provided the furnace and even the forge that you get later in the game both have electrical upgrades, i.e. you upgrade it to take a battery, and you have to be burning fuel otherwise, which, because fire needs oxygen, means that we would be consuming oxygen to be using a furnace. It would not be a byproduct. That is to say, if there is even enough oxygen in the air for the fire to burn in the first place. Which there isn't. The first thing the game tells us when we exit the pod is the atmospheric conditions.
Atmospheric conditions. Oxygen 0.4%.
0.4% oxygen in the atmosphere. According to nwfirescience.org, oxygen needs an atmosphere oxygen of at least 16% to burn confidently. Any lower than 16% and it will need exterior support to be able to burn. With this level of oxygen in the atmosphere, even a perfectly struck match isn't even going to spark. I also saw something that aluminum production can theoretically kind of increase oxygen content in the atmosphere. More so by reducing carbon in the atmosphere and allowing there to be more of a percentage in oxygen, I think. I don't know, it was a long wiki page with a lot of jargon that I don't understand, which I thought maybe could be a shadow of a justification for this, but actually, you don't produce aluminum in this game. Aluminum is just a core resource that you harvest from the planet, which until debunking this particular comment of the game, I didn't even actually think about. So, double fuck you, video game.
Remember to add fuel to your furnace.
It's not a home till you place your furnace next to your crafting table.
Be used to find resources in a wider radius.
But what makes for good fuel? There's no way it's the branch. Okay. Yes. Precipitation collector, fuel cell, low heat. Wait, so I have to... How does that make any sense? I have to turn the heat down to be able to boil water and cook food? The fuck? How does that make any sense? How is my fire too hot? Don't tell me my fucking crab is too buttery. Or excuse me, don't tell me my lobster is too buttery too.
3:28 a.m.
Wire in a circuit board. I can just repair a circuit board with my bare hands. Sure. That makes sense.
Of every horror game I have ever played, none of them have genuinely startled me until now.
Are you there? Come in, Fox. Do you read me?
Fox, you're alive.
No living crew members detected.
How did you survive this?
I'm stuck here in the nav module. Power systems are low and life support systems are damaged. You need to find Phoenix team's help. There's not much time.
What about Zhang and Hawks? How are you on supplies?
Zhang and Hawks didn't make it. I was lucky enough to be in the nav module.
No subtitles? Cool.
When the explosion happened, but Hawks was helping Zhang in engineering.
Roger that, Dawkins. I'm just glad you're okay.
This channel is using too much power. I must conserve. Please hurry. Come in.
If I'm Fox, why would it let me name myself if I'm supposed to be Fox? I don't... Holy shit, I have some skill points to assign, apparently. Increase solar panel output. Yeah, that helps me right now. Spacewalk speed. Ooh. That's helpful. Plant growth speed. Fruit yield. I have to get that before spacewalk. Because I'm going to be spacewalking soon. Yeah. Increase solar panel output further. Increase spacewalking speed more. Increase medicine potency. Water consumption. Okay. Combat, let's see. Melee weapon damage, that's nice. increase mining damage, mining tool damage, gun durability, or weapon durability. Are guns not weapons, according to this game? Projectile damage. Decrease suit breach. Tool durability. Low-tech recycle. 15 engineering. That would be my entire engineering. Salvage faster. Increase hover boot. More salvaging. Craft at higher health. More increased hover boot. Repair at higher durability. Increase loot amount. Oh, fucking excuse me. I need more engineering. That's a weird skill tree. I don't understand any of those choices. Find sheddings. Locate buggy.
Day 2.
Oh, wait, so I cooked without the cooking upgrade? I guess that said charred, didn't it? Methane? It said water. Or precipitation, I guess. Does it rain methane? I thought methane was a gas. Sorry, I'm not a Scientologist. Actually, I need to stop making that joke. Scientology's actually, like, a thing. It also has nothing to do with science. Lawn's Delight. Delete? Lawn's Delete? Oh, that's methane. Lawn's Delight. Never heard of that before in my life. Oh, those wheels are fine. My bad. Fuel cell, a barrel, a hose, and aluminum. Rubber and bronze. Craft leather. Love the lag spike when I hit it. Look at that damage it did. How am I still alive? Sure is a shame my oxygen doesn't regen. Otherwise I would like actually be running around and being efficient. It used to. I know that for a fact. It's actually kind of hard to run out of oxygen, so you know what? I'm actually glad that oxygen is, like, legitimately a thing. Better, or it's harder, I guess. So I guess I could mine with that? Never mind. This is melee weapon. As if I should be using it to fight with, when it's worse for fighting than the knife. I feel like I'm being a lot more hostile than I need to be, but I'm just saying, it's a little weird to me. So I need copper and aluminum. Heard that. Why can't I can't switch? Batch. Sucks that I only get one out of that. Okay. What the hell? I just killed you, did I not? Fucking bastard. Me and my two hands. My two left hands. Two right hands, rather. We'll fuck you up. Also, where did I get bronze? How did I get bronze? Motherfucker! Where does one get... Oh my god. Is there like a spawner nearby? Cause fuck. This was not an issue moments ago. What the fuck happened? Got lead? Tin. Looks like a rare sample from Helldivers. Seems like there's a whole lot more here that I could salvage. But nah. I've got... What the hell is that? What are you? Like one of those, what is it called? Those, like, crab armor plates. There's two! Parasite. I'm sure it's fine that a parasite bit me. Nothing bad happens from that. So, okay, so copper to mine is hardness of 3. So I want 2 of these. What do I... How do I get hydrocarbon solution? Well, I thought they were supposed to, like, drop stuff. I can't imagine it was too much further out. What the hell's that? You know, sometimes I would just... I'd just like to walk. Motherfuck, what the hell? Oh, you fuckers. Can we be less dramatic if they're doing that little damage? Hi. Oh, it's broken, that's why. I was about to say. God damn. Crab larva. Don't crabs usually have pinchers? And more legs? Weird ass crab. Probably what I meant. Where'd you come from? I can't get over that. Why the hell would it be dull? It's a metal knife. For emergency purposes. Like, it's designed to save my life exactly in these circumstances, and you're telling me this is like one of the worst pieces of equipment that could exist. Like, I can fashion, let's see, 4 to 6, 10 to 20. I can forge something that is well over twice as effective with just random rocks. You know what would be awesome? Being alerted as to how many skill points or you know, those research points, I guess, because there's like the stats, physical stats, proficiencies. Like, it would be nice to have an alert for that, which, you know what, thinking about it, there used to be. I know that for certain. There used to be. But now there's not. Also, I guess I just am not allowed to repair this. I have to remake it. I also can make a crude metal blade, but I can't make anything with it. The ability to do anything with that is beyond my capability to understand. Oh, repair object. I can repair stuff. My bad. Does it use any resource? Okay, sure. Yes. Oh. Methane is hydrocarbon solution? Did it say that under that the whole time? Really? I have to... Okay, that would have been... That's silly of me. I'll also need more rubber. So I need to find something else to salvage. I see a lot of crab sheddings. Oh. Nickel, that doesn't help me. Hades' hive. The one shot is hilarious. Don't you have weak spots on, like, the legs? Like, can I cut your legs off? Young crab monster. Physical level up. So that big ass thing still didn't do any extra damage. Water retaining. Rock outcropping. Oh, I remember that. Sorry, I don't have a dramatic reaction for it. That was like the pinnacle of cool that this game had. Oh, how did I miss that? That would be so nice to salvage. Lead. I needed lead for something. And just a tip for that big monster. You would be significantly more effective bursting from the ground under me rather than bursting from the ground far away from me and getting me on the downstrike. By the by. Something to consider. Well, a bunch of broken barrels is like one of the least helpful things that I could have gotten. I've got to say, I'm already bored of the enemies. The rock monster was cool, I guess, because I haven't seen it yet. But I mean, everything attacks the same exact way. And is also super not threatening. If it does so little damage. Like laughably low damage. I wanted to take a quick intermission here because I know this is fucking boring. Now, mind you, I currently, as of recording this, haven't gotten out of the early game, I don't think. But yeah, the early game is egregiously, abominably, miserably slow. Now, the main objective that I have been actively doing for a large majority of the gameplay so far is repairing a buggy, the first little car you get. And shockingly, once you get a car, things speed up quite a bit. As a large part of what makes the early game so slow is just the commute from your little base of operations to the thing you have to repair, just to check what resources you needed to go get. Plenty of these times, I have to make the trek all the way out there just to recall what exactly I needed so that I can go all the way back, mount an expedition to go try and find what I'm looking for, get back to my base, trek back to the buggy, repair the buggy. You've seen like 35 minutes of gameplay, and I've already had to cut out over an hour and 20 minutes of it. There's so much menu navigation and just dead time and transit. Also, from this point on, I will be putting on a new counter for enemies killed. I've made it a point that every time I've come across one, I've shown it because it happens fucking constantly. But for the sake of this video getting anywhere ever, I do want to be able to cut larger swaths of this out, which will have to include extra monster kills. So there will be a fresh new tally starting now, which will be the kill count from this point on, more efficiently continue to express how fucking constant the enemies are. That's definitely an element, I'm sure. I could look at my periodic table right now. Alpha Mine Entrance B. I've got one of those flashlights, right? L. L for light. Minecart. Ooh, a blicky. Data disk. Pogger's minecart. Someone left a fucking gun in there. Ooh. Come on, really? Even the gun has... Also, this is the light of a spacefaring civilization? Like a fucking 60s something flashlight? I mean, damn. Kind of blows. Methane. Glitch is really frequent. I might turn that off. It's neat, I guess, but I mean, that happens every couple of seconds. Broken computer screen. I don't care about broken barrels. I think I have enough of those. Oh, I haven't even been looking at the minimap this entire time. There's a boss room that I'm heading into. That would suck. Kinda sounds like it. Sure would be nice if I had a real flashlight. I mean, goddamn. Like, this is pathetic. Oh, I have to reload it. My bad. Didn't know I even had ammo for it. That's nice. Get fucked on, idiot. Is that the boss? I sure hope so. I'm beginning to think there's not a boss in here. Perhaps the boss is simply a lot of enemy? It feels odd. Is the sound just like wind blowing through here? Oh, where did you come from? Good thing you missed. Wow, holy fuck. Oh, really? You're back? You could try pathing somewhere you can go. Sound design's pretty solid. Very startling. What the hell, guys? Come on! I'll take on the whole fucking planet right here, dog. Did I miss something where I came from? That's what I was gonna say earlier. I think maybe there was something where I came from. Also, this cave is leaky as fuck. Can we talk about that? Why is it so wet? And if it's gonna be this wet, why isn't it So, they just respawn if I take, like, 2 steps away? Really? That's lame. And also annoying. Oh, hi. Nice tail. Arachnoid. That's a long thing, but... those are a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them. Also, it had 4 legs, didn't it? It's not an arachnoid. It's not an arachnid. That nomenclature is wrong. I'll take a suckle upon this. Now, I have to piss, like, really badly. So we're just gonna stare off into the nothingness.
One minute, 37 seconds later.
I appreciate as well that even though my knife is broken, I can still use it. Good shot. Except for the part where you missed. Okay, alright. Alright. Alright, oh my god, that motherfucker's flying. The whole squad's here! They pull it up! Okay, okay. Alright! I see you! I see how you playing! Chew. I love how they go in circles. I also like how I slide on a slope. That sucks for me. There is so many of these motherfuckers. Am I right at the edge of their... Also, can we talk about how, like in any other game, that supreme density of motherfuckers would have been a problem? And I played that so recklessly. And it doesn't matter. They're spawning in front of me, but... Jesus Christ. Hold on. Oh my god! Really is a boss room. This is a dead end, my bad. If only I felt like some tension for this legitimately overwhelming force here. Because, I mean... Oh my god. Oh my god, it can fly. Okay. That is... worrisome. I did not anticipate that move. You know what? I'll give it to him. That scared me. I think that justifies pulling out the scared word. I've only been startled by these enemies to this point, but that was scary. You think the game's ever gonna actually get access to threatening shit? What the fuck was that? Buddy. I was just thinking, like, I wonder if a fall from this height would kill me. And then that motherfucker just goes, I'm out of here. Uh-oh. That big black thing in the middle, like, its eye? Is that an eyeball? Doesn't blink. Apart from that whole exoskeleton. Oh! Why is the metal sword also worse than the knife? That doesn't make any sense. Or you use mending and eliminate durability as a concept. Which I think is something that is really weak about Minecraft, is that you have that issue there. Nice lag spike. Uses hydrogen. 'Twould sure be a shame. Repairing the buggy arbitrarily gives you the chisel, which is the next tier of mining tool that you will need in the game. It also gives you some other junk, but who cares? It then directs you to Phoenix Base, a pre-built structure, which in order to investigate, you have to repair. Because in a emergency survival/rescue operation, ruins restoration is a priority. And I have a few problems with this. First of all, by repairing everything, this base will obviously become your own base. Inside, everything is already fully furnished, and despite needing some more complex materials, you of course need far less of them to simply repair this one, rather than making an entirely new base. Despite this being very convenient that 90% of the work is already done for you, it of course means that I have no attachment or investment in this area at all. I didn't choose this area, I didn't build any of this. I didn't have to build up to this either. See, Phoenix Base also just comes pre-packaged with a biodome and a barracks. Two different rooms which have very important functions that you will be using throughout the entire game. So, although there is a lot of base building elements in here, and quite strong base building elements even, in many ways it's very much like the base building in Subnautica. Yet, by forcing you to simply repair up a base that's already fully furnished, well, it undercuts any incentive to actually engage with it on your own. Additionally, until you repair things, namely the airlock and the solar panels to power it, you aren't able to enter or use anything inside of the base yet. So you have to just sort of awkwardly camp outside of it, which feels very obtuse. Additionally, you may have noticed that just outside of the entrance of this base are very core resources that are just lumped together weirdly. It spawns with at least like 3 or 4 deposits of 3 different core resources: iron, copper, and aluminum. This is something I plan to talk about more in a more formal section where I'm dressing down the issues with the game so far, but the distribution of resources is an issue that we will talk about. Fucking busy. I hate that kind of gameplay design, or enemy design. The fucking hit and run shit. Barrel in a pipe. I like how it doesn't update that there is no longer enough resources. For sure it was over here. Hey, it was. And there's motherfuckers here. The harassment is constant and never ending. Constant and never ending. Constant and never ending. Constant and never ending. Curious who at the development team for this game was like, you know what would be fun? Literally always having enemies around you. Like, genuinely to a humorous degree. You can tell it's funny with how elated I sound. Is that a fucking dragon? This is the final boss of the game. For whatever fuck-ass reason, in the final post-launch update, they decided, let's just have the final boss of the game just wander around the world also. Because, you know, content.
drive away, I guess. Wonder why that spawned. I love that its sound isn't tracking.
weapons while flying. Also notice that the legs aren't a hitbox.
second cooldown. Like, I've killed 100 of them, at least. Yeah? You want some? What in the fuck just happened? Making Super Earth proud out here, dude. Sweet fucking liberty. After fleeing this unwinnable onslaught, I would then proceed to, as I have been, wander the endless desert for about another 40 minutes, during the course of which I found another cave area, which this time was devoid of creatures, thankfully. And inside, I found an assault rifle, as well as a few magazines for it, and immediately decided it was time for round 2. Oh my god. It's perfectly fine.
Injuries detected.
This is stupid. Look at this shit. It also only has one sound despite doing that constantly. That's all I got for tonight. For you, it's been an hour and 12 minutes. I sifted through 5 hours and 15 minutes of this shit. I had to play 5 hours and 15 minutes of this shit in the first place. I hope I have provided enough evidence to thoroughly say that this game is boring as fuck. They expect the player to wander for dozens of minutes at a time in search of a singular particular resource that was demanded arbitrarily, that can spawn wherever the hell it wants to. Many demanded resources are alloys, which means that you have to go out in search of core resources that you need to combine together to create the alloy, which in practice serves only to make it harder to remember what the hell you're looking for. Something seems to have happened to the ore deposits as they vary wildly based on the lighting. Aluminum in particular goes from very shiny and reflective into the daylight to a very dull gray at night. Although it's harmless, they also have very high-end late-game resources scattered in with these early-game core resources that just seems very odd to have. It gives me the impression as if Uraninite in Subnautica spawned in the safe shallows. A resource you would rightfully assume would be very important, but you won't be able to utilize it in any way for an extreme amount of time. Visually speaking, there are certain moments where the game is able to begin building at a horror atmosphere, but there's nothing in the game to capitalize off of that. Every single enemy in the game has the same AI, attacks in the same brainless, mindless, mind-numbing pattern. And on top of that still, there was absolutely zero consequences to getting hit. They deal so little damage. That or your health pool is so astronomically large that you could get attacked, step away from your computer, graduate college, come back, and still have over half of your health pool left to retaliate. One of the very first survival objectives is to craft what is, still to this point that I played, the best weapon in the game. Despite there being almost 5 or 6, I think, different dedicated melee weapons in the game, the Shard Blade has the highest damage potential and a very comfortable damage minimum. Its raw DPS is only challenged by the ranged weapon, which you can find non-renewably at any point, like the assault rifle I found. Although now I have it in my possession and I was able to find ammo for it, I'm not able to create ammo, and when it is spent, it is gone. The ability to craft ammo does not come until the middle-late game, which means aside of brief pockets of managing the resources of having ranged ammunition, you're going to be using the Shard Blade. And again, this best weapon in the game is a mandatory objective. The game forces you to craft this weapon first. It doesn't tell you to make one of the other weapons that are worse. It forces you to make this one, meaning going for any other melee weapon is completely pointless, as it not only is it out of your way, but it's also worse than the one you already had to make. As was the thing I tried hardest to illustrate in the video, the mob spawn rate is fucking absurd. I cannot fathom how a team of people could allow this to get through, because it is so egregious that anyone who had to play this game while developing it from any department should be embarrassed that it got through, because it is an immediately noticeable issue. You are swarmed relentlessly, constantly, for every action that you do. It specifically spawns enemies in response to you mining. It's not even a matter of not clearing the area before doing things. It just spawns them in to frustrate you. According to the wiki, there is no other boss in the game than the one that I encountered, which is supposed to only be encountered once in a boss room at the end of the game, essentially. As I mentioned, in the very final patch of the game, they've somehow, for some fucking brain-dead reason, decided to make it wander the overworld as well. I'm unsure of its full path around the world, or if it truly just aimlessly wanders around, but the fact that it was wandering around the adjacent area to where I not only spawned, but had to go for the second major objective in the game. To illustrate basically what this is, imagine if when Elden Ring's Night Rain DLC launched, that FromSoft was just like, yeah, for the base game where the new players are gonna be playing, let's just have Melania wander outside of Limgrave. We're not gonna gimp her or nerf her in any way, we're just gonna have her wander aimlessly around the outside of Limgrave, so she's the second thing you fucking interact with. It is, simply put, a brain-dead development decision. One so bad I would go so far as to say anyone at Phoenix Fire Entertainment that knew that that was a change going to be made in the patch should be embarrassed that it was allowed to happen, that they did not stop it. The boss design itself, additionally, is fucking comical. An 8-year-old would be ashamed if that was all they could come up with. The only thing it does is wander around and every 10 seconds spawn 4 to 6 fuck-ass minions. Minions no less that are literally just standard mobs. Not even a unique variant or, God forbid, a totally unique minion. Now, I fully admit that I don't really know where the end game takes you. I know that there is space travel. There are 2 other planets in the game, a magma planet and an ice planet. Across these 2 other planets, there are only 5 total monsters unique to those other planets. They also include some variations of the other monsters from this base planet, and I don't know about you, but 5 creatures per planet is pretty embarrassing. The core 3 creatures that I saw throughout my playthrough are the Sceliopod, the Crab Monster, as well as the Snub. Allegedly, there are 3 variations of all 3 of these that appear on the base planet. And either they are so incredibly fuck-off rare, or there is some issue with the spawn logic, or perhaps, maybe, if I wanted to be really generous and have a little bit of faith in Phoenix Fire, we could maybe say that there's something in place so that these stronger variations of these monsters aren't able to come out until some arbitrary checkpoint, either in character level or story progression. Of course, these variations are simply that the stats of the monster are bigger, it deals more damage, and it hits harder, and that it's a slightly different color, or in some cases, larger. A+ creativity, guys. Fucking brilliant. Interestingly, as I was looking at the wiki, because I had to fucking look back, it's been like 2.5 weeks of editing this shit because I literally could not be bothered to edit it for days at a time. The page I'm reading in particular is quite obviously out of date. And in being out of date actually reminded me of something that I do recall from the earlier versions of the game. The Snub and Sceliopods that I interacted with actually behaved much differently. Well, I take that back. They behaved somewhat differently in previous versions. Snubs, in particular, would circle around you, running laps until eventually deciding to charge in, deal damage to you, possibly, or get hit, and then return to circling. Sceliopods also behaved very similar, although their strafe was a little bit more fluid as it just either slithered past you or hit you, whereas Snubs were a little more determined to hit or get hit. It's not an incredible AI behavior, but it is an AI behavior. If you didn't notice from the fucking gameplay, all of the enemies attack the exact same way. They charge you head on, back up, and then charge you head on. That's it for every enemy in the game. The crab monsters allegedly have a ranged spit attack that I never saw them use. There were 3 other creatures that made passing appearances in my playthrough: the gnat, arachnoid, and the parasite. The arachnoid and the gnat, curiously, are monsters that exclusively spawn at night, which is the only unique behavior exhibited in the entire game, at least that I experienced. There are also allegedly several species that I never caught so much as a glimpse of, 3 of which are actually shockingly passive mobs that just wander around and don't really do anything. Another enemy that is supposed to exclusively spawn at night that I never saw, as well as an enemy that I recall also being very rare in the early access that I actually am kind of surprised didn't make an appearance. Not including variations, across 3 entire planets, there is only 20 aliens that you can encounter. Just like the actual environment, it's so barren. There's so little substance here. For there being a few biomes on the planet that you start on, it's really shocking to me how boring it all seemed to be. It's just this dusty brown orange and this dull navy blue. That's the only 2 colors in the fucking game. On a loose positive, it does a really convincing barren wasteland. 'Cause it really is just a legitimate few square miles of just craters and holes. And they all look the same. It's so hard to find a true landmark. It's a miracle that pretty much any structure you build is marked on your minimap and compass, because it would be so easy to get lost otherwise. And to some degree, I think the game is actually kind of hurt because of that. Because you are spared of the consequences of not knowing where you went, what direction you left in. It means that there's no consequences for not paying attention to where you're going, not looking around and really trying to find something to grasp onto for orientation's sake. This is something that was mildly more present in the early access version, as resources were actually allocated per biome. Certain resources only appeared in certain places, so you could do a lot of orientating by simply acknowledging what resources you were around. Now the resources are a lot more thinned out and appear with a lot more overlap. I shit you not, Lon's Delight is fucking everywhere on the planet. Fucking everywhere. Making it so that the resources are what help you orient or create landmarks with, it allowed the game to keep a very droll and drab atmosphere for a lot of the world area, because there was a lot that you could do to know that, alright, my base is to the left from where lead is. If I leave my base from the north and I turn left at the hydrogen geyser, that's where I'm gonna find all my aluminum. I already said a little bit, but it is also a really insane decision to me that they force you to repair a pre-existing base with all the amenities already inside of it, rather than having to do the survival craft thing and build your own place. Force you to decide what pro and con to where you build next to, what resources are close and what resources are far from you. There's no point to building a base because it already makes you repair a base that has everything, which is a real shame, because one of the game's strongest points, in my opinion, was that the base building was really strong. It's extremely similar to that of Subnautica's base building. I'm not going to try to criticize the story. I did not make it very far through it, so it would be unfair for me to discuss anything about it. What is worth discussing, to me at least, is that it does fail to answer a couple of questions that I think it really needed to give the player. The biggest one for me is, why in the goddamn fuck is my emergency survival knife fucking useless? As well as, what could or couldn't have caused the explosion of the ship? The only thing we know about it is that it did blow up, and we aren't given any room to speculate about anything. There's no strings to grasp at. It just blew up. It doesn't entice you with a mystery like Subnautica, where the game tells you that there was some external thing that caused it to have a catastrophic failure. In the forest, it's quite likely that you will start to realize that a lot of crashes happen on the island that you crashed on. And it is tied into the ending of the game that you are simmering on this what could have done it question. I'm not saying that it has to go a Borderlands 2 route and specifically show you and set up an antagonist in blowing up the train you're riding into the area or anything like that, but to literally just straight up have your back be turned to any questions about it is a really odd decision. It leads me to imagine that it was always an afterthought onto how you got to the planet, and it is thoroughly continued to be hurt because the story they decided to go for is that you're a rescue operation for something else that went wrong on the planet. Not necessarily another crash, but you are a disaster relief vessel, essentially. And you are immediately met with a disaster. That's two really big things to have you pondering. Two major catastrophes back to back on this planet, and it doesn't give you anything to think about. As far as I can recall about the catastrophe of the Phoenix team, the team that arrived before you, is that it is completely, entirely detached from what happens to your ship. And that's really fucking lame. I would sincerely hope that it is answered, at least, what causes your ship to crash. Whether it is tied into what goes wrong with the Phoenix team or anything, I can't attest to. But I would genuinely be shocked if there wasn't a reason at all in the entire game as to what brings your ship down. Based on everything else in the game, I have no faith that that isn't the case. But it is genuinely unfathomable to me that it could be the case that I do not believe it could be. I am certain that there is an explanation in the game somewhere, but the game is so viciously unfun that I don't want to find it. I have found that I really enjoy the process of video editing, and this is the only video I have ever edited. And I'm editing another video at the same time as this. And I have not yet ever before felt such a visceral and thorough aversion to a video project. This has been a thorough displeasure at every step of the road. Remembering it, playing it, rewatching it, editing it. All of it has been miserable because the base game, the game itself on a core level, is so disinteresting and poorly made. Not malfunctioning, not unplayable, just so severely disinteresting. I don't claim to have the strongest word or the most unbreakable spirit when it comes to games or challenges in games, but I will not be returning to this playthrough. There will not be a sequel to this video, and I will not be seeing the conclusions that Osiris New Dawn is supposed to have. This video and documenting my extreme disappointment is closure enough for me. Thank you for sticking it out, and as well for tuning in. That'll be all from me. Good night.